Actually, I am still sad when I think about Jay not being around. Uh, um, uh, and it's funny, when I met him, of course, as I mentioned, I knew nothing about system dynamics when I applied to the graduate program, and not much more when they accepted me and I showed up as a doctoral student. Um, and I was being shown around the campus, and by Nat Mass. Jim knows him. And then he ended up taking, I was very impressed because he was driving a Mercedes. So I thought, oh, I have joined the field to do, thank God. But he dropped me off at where the faculty club was. And Peter Senge picked me up. And we were in the elevator, and he realized from our little chit chat that I had no idea who Jay Forrester was. And he said, do you know who Jay Forrester is? And I said, well, yeah, of course. He's the head of the system dynamics group. And so when we reached the level where the club was, he took me down another hall and said, well, let me just give this to you. And so he laid out some of his remarkable resume. And then we went in to meet Jay. But I had never really thought of him. I had never thought of him at all. So whether he was a genius or not was not actually in my head. And that gave me a little bit of a different relationship with him than a lot of his other students, in that I felt more comfortable just, like saying during my thesis, I'm really sad about this. I don't think it's going. And then he would say, actually, that actually happened. And he said, well, be of good cheer. That was all he said. And walked away. But it really did buck me up, because I thought, well, he thinks things are going all right. Anyway, it gave me a different relationship with him. And the point I was trying to make is, it wasn't until I had worked with him more and more that I realized how extraordinary this guy was. And by the end, before I graduated, I realized that this was an extraordinary person, and he was. He could, if someone asked him a question, he would respond in a way that would often be surprising to them. And usually when you ask somebody a question, you have the basic idea of how they're going to respond. And I remember one time I was teaching. It was for the foundations course, I think, at MIT, and I had him in to interview. And at that time, China had the one-child policy, and I brought that up. Of course, Jay was interested in environmental population dynamics, and I said, I've just read a newspaper article where from China, where this couple had a second child, and everybody in the village got together and they knocked down their house as punishment. And I said, imagine that. They have nowhere to live now. And then I asked my question. I said, so in terms of solving this world dynamics issue, this problem, or this nexus of issues, is it always going to be a struggle between the desire to reduce the impact of humans and these draconian policies that actually are what may make it happen? So I asked him, and I was expecting him to say, well, there's always this tension between policy and reality. You just have to keep in mind what you're trying for, and keep in mind that a little bit of movement many times will get you to the end. Something like that, I was thinking. But instead he said, well, oh, and I used the word draconian. Did I use that in my story? Yes, I used that word, draconian measures. And Jay said, well, the truly draconian measures will be taken by nature. What's that? So he could answer a question and give you a totally different perspective, as that one, of course, does on the issue, that relative to what happens if this issue goes on unaddressed will make limiting people to one child or knocking down a house seem like a very gentle tap on the wrist.
Nature is ruthless and
What's
does
that?
not. Nature is ruthless and does not
Yeah,
care about mankind or
that's
humankind.
right. That's
Oh,
right.
and we're 5 minutes past the hour. I
Oh,
apologize if you had another meeting after this.
I
I was
don't.
thinking, yeah, I would like to thank you for agreeing to this interview, and I appreciate your stories.
Well, Christine, it's a pleasure to meet you. And uh, I assume I'll see you at whenever the next in-person conference is.